What's up, Rebels? What are we talking about today? Hold on, I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about today. Today, we are going to talk about this. That's right. Today, we're going to talk about how to become a writer. I'm a writer. I just did that right now. We can all be writers, just like that. Whew. Let's get into it. And no, I'm not talking about a freelance writer. In the past, like on this site, on this channel, we got all sorts of content about how to become a freelance writer. Right now, I'm just talking about how to become a writer. How do you get to the point where you can call yourself, it's like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a writer. Hey, what kind of hobbies do you have? I'm a writer. What do you like to do for fun? I'm a writer. It can seem daunting. You're probably thinking, you're not, it's like, oh, I'm not a very good writer. I'm not a thing. But here's the thing. We can all be writers. Being a writer is actually one of the most beneficial skills I think you can acquire in life and in business. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it in this video. So let's, jump right into it. The first step to becoming a writer, it's not to write at all. It's to read. Number one tip. I think that's like one of the best things you can do to become a better writer is to read more. Why? Because when you read, you become exposed to good writers. The more you read, the more high quality writing you are exposed to. Also, the more I read, the more ideas I have for things to write about. That's one of the biggest problems a lot of people have when they start writing or when they think about becoming a writer. They're like, I don't know what to write about. I'm not sure. I sit down, blank paper, I got nothing. And the more you read, and the more I personally read, the more blog posts I have, the more prolific I become, the more video ideas I have. Reading does all sorts of good things for your creative thinking, for your ideas, for just staying engaged with the world. So if you want to become a better writer, read more. We'll start with that. Second best thing you can do to become a writer, write every day. Who would have thought? Write more, you become a writer. There you go. But seriously, even if you suck at writing, even if you think you're horrible at writing, make a goal 200 words a day. It can be about anything you want. Literally just sit down, write 200 words every single day about anything, and you are going to become a better writer. You will be a writer. After a year, if you've written 200 words a day, you are a writer. Like that's it. You've written a lot of words at that point. So that's the best way to get started. Even if it's uncomfortable, like the great thing about doing this is nobody has to know. No one has to see it. Even if it's uncomfortable, all you do is do it, think of it as your journal entry. Find a hobby you're interested in, write more about it. I mean, whatever it is, it can be about anything, but get in the habit of writing every day because that's gonna allow you to see improvement. That's gonna allow you to clarify your thinking. And by going through the process of writing, it's going to make it much easier for you to identify with the term, with the name, with the label, writer. The third thing is once you're writing every day, you might feel compelled at some point, not saying you have to, but at some point you might feel compelled to want to share that writing with somebody else. So I'm not saying you got to write a book. I'm not saying you got to do anything super elaborate, but I do think you should consider starting a blog. Even if you don't tell anyone about it at first, even if it's not a big thing, starting a blog has absolutely changed my life. There's 56 reasons right up here. There's a link here below somewhere. There's a link, 56 reasons to start a blog. It's honestly literally completely changed my life. I would not be here right now. I would not have this brand if it weren't for starting a blog. I would still be in a finance job, miserable, sitting in my day job, not doing cool stuff like talking to you. But that's kind of the next step. Once you're reading, once you're writing, once you've got some of those creative ideas, the next logical step is to start publishing it. Even if you don't tell anyone about the blog, putting it out there so that potentially people can start to find your ideas and you can start writing as though somebody might read it eventually. And, as you start chipping away at that, as you start building your confidence with your writing, you might find that a blog is a great outlet for your creative thinking. And over the long term, you can create a brand, you can create a business, you can make money, and you can meet a ton of people that have the same interests as you, which I think is one of the most powerful reasons for starting a blog. The next thing you should do if you're serious about becoming a writer is get the book Everybody Writes by Handley. That's kind of my starting point. Not if you're trying to become a freelance writer, not if you're trying to become a copywriter, but if you're just trying to become a better writer, I think that's the best book out there. She recognizes that we're always writing, we're always marketing, we're always promoting, even if we don't realize it. And she helps you hone your writing in a way that's going to make you better at that. And whether you apply that to your personal life or your business life, either way, being better at articulating your thoughts via words, that's a helpful skill to have. Next up, you want to become a writer, enroll in a writing course. Simple as that. You can go down to your local community college, get one there. If you want to become a copywriter and actually become persuasive with your words, potentially turn it into a business, check out Copyhour. I think it's the best copywriting course on the planet, and I talk about it all the time because it's great. It's how I learned how to copyright. We've also got a link to a bunch of other writing courses as well if neither of those are quite your cup of tea, but you still want to learn how to become a writer. So check that link in the resources below. Next up, you're in your writing journey, you're reading more, you've started writing, you've started a blog, you're in a writing course. So how do you really start cultivating that and massaging that and getting better at it? Well, you got to get some honest feedback. You got to get critiques. And I'm not saying here, mom, read this, because that's not going to be honest. She's going to tell you it's great. It's probably not great, let's be honest. So you got to start getting real feedback. So how do you do that? You find a community of other people that are looking to try and do the same thing. Personally, I'm kind of partial to Location Rebel Academy. That is our course and community where we teach you how to build a small business that allows you to work from anywhere. And I'm going to be honest, a big part of that is through writing. We have a ton of people that do freelance writing because I think that's the easiest way to make money online. Again, this isn't a video about how to become a freelance writer. It's about how to become a better writer. But in the Location Rebel Academy community, we have people every day that are asking for feedback on their writing and saying, I like this, or I don't like this, or you should think about this, or you should improve this. And that feedback is awesome. There's also a lot of different, writing forums on there. You can just Google online writing forums or forums for writers to find more writing specific places where you can get that feedback. But you're not going to get better if you don't open yourself up to critiques. And it can suck. It can be hard. It can be hard to hear that this thing you've spent all this time on isn't as good as you think it is, or that you're not as good as you think you are. But it's that constructive feedback that's going to eventually allow you to say, I'm a writer, and actually believe it. Man, once again, I'm sorry. I feel like I got all sorts of energy. I need to film these in the morning more often. Often it's in the afternoon. I'm kind of tired, but right now it's like we're cruising through this. Let's go. We got this. On to number 8 or 7. I think we're on 7. Okay, you know what the most common thread among not only all the best writers I know, but all of the most successful people in life I know, my most successful entrepreneur friends, common thread. Most of them, if not all of them, do this. You know what this is? You know what I'm talking about? Journaling. Keep a diary, keep a journal, write on a regular basis, your thoughts, your feelings, your things that you're going through emotionally. Doing that, this kind of goes back to the whole writing every day thing, 200 words a day. That you can write about anything you want. This is more really focusing on yourself and your goals and your motivations. And again, anything that's going to get your thoughts down on paper, allow you to clarify your thoughts, is going to be a good thing. The more clear your thoughts, the better your writing is going to be. So you kind of get a double whammy with that one. You clarify your thoughts and you're writing more, helps you become a better writer. Win-win. Number 8 is to practice becoming more conversational with your writing. So the best piece of writing advice probably I've ever received was from a guy named JD Roth. He started a website called Get Rich Slowly. It was one of the biggest personal finance blogs in the world for a really long time, and he's become a good friend of mine. But way back, early, it was 2010, I think, early in my blogging days, he agreed to let me guest post for Get Rich Slowly. So I wrote this whole post. I spent a ton of time doing it. And the feedback I got as he was editing it was, you need to be more conversational. Use more contractions. Instead of writing I am, write I'm. Instead of writing have not, write haven't. What that does is it makes you more approachable, it makes things more conversational, it's easier to read, it flows a little bit better, and especially when you're writing these days, unless you're writing a novel or a academic paper or something like that, if you're writing for the web, if you're writing in most of the mediums that you could potentially be sharing it these days, a conversational turn is going to make you more approachable, and it's going to make it easier to read your work. And so I always try and do that. Often I will go back and edit the stuff that I've written to make it more conversational, and specifically adding more contractions, because that's the easiest way to do it. Number 9 is write drunk, edit sober. So this term was generally attributed to Ernest Hemingway, although most people believe he didn't actually say it. But I think you can take this in a number of different ways, and here's how I take this term. By writing drunk and editing sober, basically that means let your writing be free-flowing. Don't be stopping to add links or research things or think about things. Write and just write. Get it all out there. Just let it flow out. Worry about the editing, worry about everything else later, but just get it out there, because as soon as you get too bogged down in the details, you're gonna start overthinking things, you're gonna lose your confidence, especially if you're just starting out on your writing journey. So don't worry about all the extraneous crap. Don't worry, we've talked a lot about, SEO in previous videos and things like that. If you're writing a blog post, don't worry about SEO when you're first writing it. You can do that when you edit. So just write, because that's gonna allow you to get more words out, build more confidence, get more creative ideas out without getting bogged down with the technical stuff and the details. And finally, our last step is to recognize why you want to become a writer. Because if you know why you want to become a writer, then it's going to make it a lot easier to take the right steps to become the type of writer you want to be. If you want to become a writer because you want to create your own courses, and you have to actually be able to create the content in the courses and be able to copyright and sell the courses via sales page, that's going to send you down one path. If you want to be a writer because you want to write a fiction novel one day, that's going to take you down a different path. Maybe you just want to be a writer so that you can, share things with your kids in the future and have a journal for them to find down the road. There's all sorts of different personal reasons, but understanding what the motivation is for you and why you identify with that term writer and why you feel the need to want to become a writer, that's probably one of the most important things you can do. Because as you'll see, and as you have seen, there's lots of different type of writing out there: technical writing, content writing, SEO writing, copywriting, creative writing, the list goes on. And so recognize which one of those boxes most resonates with you and which one of those boxes you want to fit into, and then start pursuing your writing journey from there. So I hope you found this video useful. If you are just finding our videos for the first time, we got new videos every week that help you build a small business that you can run from anywhere on earth. And frankly, writing is an important part of most of the businesses I recommend you start with. So if you like this, make sure to hit subscribe, hit that notification bell up there, give us a thumbs up. I like these thumbs up. And if you don't, if you're just finding this, if this is the first video you've seen, I love the thumbs ups. So make sure to do that. And with that, if writing is your jam, if you want to get on board with writing, I recommend you take a look at this post right over here. It's all about how to become a freelance writer. I think that freelance writing is the best way to build a business online, even if you have no clue where to start, because there's a demand for it. It's easy, or easy is a relative term, but it's the easiest way to actually start bringing revenue in quickly. So that video is right there. Go check it out, and I will see you guys on the vlog next time. I gotta go pack for Europe. Leaving here pretty soon. It's gonna be great. Peace.